last year, my son Jack, the oldest son, he started preschool, and in Australia it's about halfway through January, and there are a lot of kids about this age who are going to go to preschool for the first time. So I thought I would share with you what we did to help Jack get ready for preschool. So the first thing we did was we talked to him about what to expect at preschool and how much fun it was going to be and how he was growing up and he could do things for himself now, and so he was ready to go to preschool. So we set up that expectation in his mind that he could cope with it and it would be lots of fun and there would be lots of activities going on during the day and things that we couldn't do at home. Because you've got a little baby at home, we couldn't do things like painting and we couldn't be outside playing and doing gardening because we live in an apartment and all these other things. So we made it really fun in his mind. When he went to kindy, he was wearing clothes that he could put on and off easily, like drawstring pants, nothing with a button, nothing that was like too fussy or tucked in or things like that, clothing that he could sort himself out with. The third thing that we did to get Jack ready for going to preschool was that we made sure that he knew what he had with him to help him feel confident. So we got him a special backpack, just like a plain one, and in it he helped me pack it, and we put in like a spare set of clothes, which kindy wants you to do anyway. But I said to him, you've got a jumper in here. If you're cold, you can put it on. You've got dry socks in here, so if you're playing in the water and you get wet, you can change your socks. You don't have to have wet socks all day. And you've got, your drink bottle will be in here and your lunch and your morning tea. And then when we get to school, you can put those things where they need to go. Speaking of lunch and morning tea in his drink bottle, the next thing we did was we started using those items at home that he would be using at kindy. So I got him a lunchbox that I made sure he could open and close himself, and I would put his lunch in there when we were going out. So he was getting used to, manipulating the clicky things on it and eating out of there and sort of making sure the lid was back on at the end of eating. And we also made sure he could use his drink bottle and he knew how to recognize it. Made sure that Jack could recognize his name. He's not reading yet. He can recognize letters, and I think he does recognize some words like stop, go. As his name, his friends' names from kindy, he learnt them during the year, and he can sort of spell a few things. So I made sure he could recognize his name, and I showed him what the name tag looked like with his letters. So if he, couldn't read it, he knew that his name tag had like a picture of a little truck on it or whatever it was, to make sure he knew what was his, so he could be confident with all his things. And then finally, sort of this is like the more practical thing that I did. I made this, you can see it's been ripped up, but I made this for Jack, and I just did it in like a word processing document, and it's kind of like a visual chart to help him get ready in the morning. So he went to kindy on Mondays and Tuesdays, so I had like this label, and it's just it's just blue tacked on, so he can see what day it is and then also recognize the days of the week. And it says, for example, today is Tuesday, I'm going to kindy, and then there's a picture of his school logo, which I've just covered up. And this is the order that he would work in to get ready. So he'd have breakfast, and he liked raisin toast, so I did that. And then bathroom, brush teeth, wash my face, brush my hair, put all my things in my bag. And these are actually the items. I just got them from IKEA, so I could go on the website, which was an afterthought. I didn't plan it that way, but to put his things in his lunch bag, put on his clothes, shoes on, grab a hat, and this is what he looked like. I don't know if you can see. It's a bit glary, I'm sorry. When he was ready to go. So they're all the things, and I had this stuck up in his room, so I could say, go and look at your chart, what's the next thing to do? So trying to teach him to be independent, so it wasn't such a fight to get ready and everything, and he definitely had it by the end of the year. I'm not saying we were never late, we're always late. The other thing I would suggest is letting the teachers know any of your concerns. For example, I'm concerned that, Jax waits to go to the bathroom right until the very last minute. And they can be, they're prompting the kids all day long. In fact, I think the children are sometimes better at kindy because all the other kids are doing it, and so they're going to do that. If your kid doesn't listen at home, doesn't sit down, which is like Jack's a little busy boy running around. But at kindy, they said he was quiet and calm and paying attention and all these things. I'm thinking, really? But I think being in that environment, that doing what all the other kids are doing, kids just naturally do that. So I think don't worry too much. Just trust that your child is able to handle the situation and speak to the teachers about your concerns, and they can keep an eye out for certain things. So they're all my tips for children who are starting preschool. If you've got any questions, please ask them below, and I will do my best to answer them. And if I can't, hopefully somebody else will be able to give you some pointers. So thanks, and have a great day.